All right. So, a lot of kids, when they're growing up, love spy movies and love the action of racing around and the intrigue of having these specialized cars. An iconic figure is the Stig in racing, and so we thought we'd bring the two together to a concept that puts you in the driver's seat unless you crash. So, this is a toy where the game begins when you start controlling it, you turn it on, but the adventure begins way before that because it's designed in such a way that you can use anything around the house to make obstacles, whether it's hefty boxes or the kitchen chairs can become concrete pillars or your imagination is the only limit there. And so here is our actual model. It is a Stig who is actually positioned on top of an ejector seat that if you run into anything, it will launch him out. And the concept there is that you can control him, drive him around, and after you set up your course, if you run into anything, you have to hurry up and get him back in the seat, and that ends up being the time penalty for messing up during the race. And so, here, we'll replay that. Here's just a quick shot of him launching out when it runs into anything. And here is actually the insertion. In a more final model, we'd probably have more of a guide to keep him vertical so that he is placed in more easily and always launches way up. And now Alec will detail a little bit of the modeling.
So, unlike some of our other pieces, the shell of the car and the car itself we ended up buying, so we had to model it. And turned out to be really difficult because some of their dimensioning was just weird and it required a lot of more rounded surface. So, we actually, what we ended up doing is we ended up starting off with just a block with the maximum dimensions off of each side. And what we ended up doing after that is started chunking and cutting out pieces. As you can see, that's how it ended up turning out. Some of the little details couldn't be put on there because of just the surface that we had to work with. The datum planes that we wanted to put on couldn't be put on properly. And so the one thing we did SLA, and the most important part is the mechanism. We have the new bumper, which is the triangle piece, the red triangle piece. The two blue pieces are the grounds, and then at the very top you can see a little latch that as you push, it bends back and releases the stick, and he flies out due to the spring. And next is the assembly put together. The way we have it is we have two springs, one spring that helps push the latch forward against the bumper so that the latch will keep the Stig in. Unlike, as you can see, and when the latch gets pushed back, it releases the Stig, and the other spring, which is underneath the Stig, launches the Stig out of the car and ejects him. One thing that we ran into between our Pro E design and our actual design is that the Stig actually is very back heavy. And since the clip pushes him back, it doesn't clip him in all the way. So what we ended up having to counter in our model is use magnets at his feet to hold him down. And now Daniel will go on to future development.
Okay, so something that could give this a lot more magical feel would be if we used proximity sensors in the corners. And that way we could have it electronically controlled, and a solenoid would either push the clip, or we could actually use an electromagnet like a toaster has to have him engaged, and it disengages when the proximity sensor senses that you've gotten really close to hitting something, and that would launch him out and also cut the motor so that you can't keep driving. You're required to put your driver back in the seat before you can keep going. And thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed this.